Hey, what's going on everybody? So today on the channel we're going to be taking a look at the GoPro Hero 5 Black Edition, and we're going to be seeing what it's like to use here in 2021. So let's go ahead and jump right into this. So a little bit about the GoPro Hero 5. So the GoPro Hero 5 is now 4 years old. It's hard to believe that this camera is already that old, but it came out in 2016, and the current version of GoPro, of course, is the HERO5, which has the front screen that allows you to see yourself when you're recording, and 5K video, and a whole lot of other things. Of course, the new GoPro cameras cost about $300 to $350, depending on whether or not you get a bundle package. And not everybody has that kind of money to drop on a camera like this. So you could easily choose a older GoPro, even like a HERO7 is like $200, but still kind of expensive. Or you can pick up something like a HERO5. I've seen HERO5s by themselves around $100 on eBay, and sometimes a lot of people sell them with all of their accessories. So for about $100 to, I would say, maybe $180, maybe $200, depending on the accessories, you could get a pretty solid camera. So can this camera still keep up with today? Well, let's talk about the features of the Hero 5. So first off, the design. So the design of the Hero 5 was a huge departure from the Hero 3 and 4. The cameras don't even look the same at all. Probably the biggest change, of course, is the different casing. So this GoPro comes with a new black plastic, like a hard plastic case. It's much more compact, and it is a little bit tough to get on and off the camera, but it is a lot better than the clear case that came on the Hero 4. It also looks a lot better as well. Now the GoPro itself, of course, is waterproof and rugged and durable, so if you didn't have that case, well, you would probably be just fine as well. But something to keep in mind though is the lens sticks out quite a bit, and it's not protected like it was in the clear case. So if you were to drop this camera face down on a hard surface, your lens might get scratched or cracked. But most of the time, your camera is going to be in the case, and the case will protect it mostly. When we take the camera out of the case, it's really nice to hold in your hand. It's extremely lightweight, very compact. If you take a look at the front of the camera, you have a little tiny screen. It kind of gives you some quick information, such as if you're recording or not, what resolution you're in, and what your frame rate is. You have your big camera lens right there, and we'll talk about its capabilities in a moment. Little GoPro logo right there. In the top left, there's also a little indicator light to let you know that you're recording. On the left side of the camera, you'll find a spot that kind of pushes down and open, and this will unveil a few things. You'll notice a micro HDMI cable in there, but we also noticed a USB-C port. So this was really pretty important for 2016. The GoPro was one of the early adopters of USB-C, so that kind of future-proofs this camera even for today, since everything, of course, is moving towards USB-C. We take a look at the left side of the camera, you see one of the 3 microphones, and you also see a mode button. It allows you to change between video and photo modes and other things. On the back of the GoPro, we have a nice touchscreen. So this touchscreen is relatively large. You would think it's more kind of compact and tough to use on such a small screen, but it's really not that bad at all. So when we power up the GoPro for the first time here, we're going to see quite a few things on the screen. So you see a lot of indicators, such as if you're connected wirelessly, how much time is left on your memory card, your battery percentage, and then what resolution, frame rate, and field of view you were using. Now the touchscreen is very responsive, just a tad bit of lag, but for a small little camera like this, it's pretty quick, and it's really not a problem to use it. The controls are pretty simple as well. It utilizes a lot of swiping related features. So for example, if you go into a menu, you might notice that you can swipe back to go back, you can swipe down to go different places as well. And it's just really interesting to see because there's so many options, but you don't feel like it's overwhelming, if that makes any sense. But overall, the performance of this camera is still on par, very smooth and quick. You know, you push record, it starts recording, there's not a lot of lag or anything. So as far as responsiveness and quickness goes, it's still pretty good here today. Now let's talk about the video and audio as well as pictures. Now that's pretty important for a camera, right? So now this camera can shoot all the way up to 4K at 30 frames per second. So that might be something that, well, you don't really like. You might want 4K at 60, but you do get 1080p at 60 as well as 720p at 60 frames. This camera also features slow-mo, of course. Now, my typical resolution here that I like to do is just 1080-60 with the linear view. I feel like that is kind of the normal viewing there, but of course the thing about GoPros is you can have an extremely wide field of view all the way up to super view, and yeah, you can get a lot in the frame if you use a GoPro, which is very nice. Overall, the video quality is pretty on par. I mean, it's very smooth. The 60 frames per second at 1080 is very nice. Like I said, that's what I use. And I use this camera to record several of my videos with. So you can go back and kind of watch the channel and see what it kind of looks like. But I'm obviously putting some video samples in this video as well too. But yeah, the 60 frames, like I said, super smooth. This camera did get a new image stabilization feature as well. So when you're taking all those kind of action shots or the camera's moving around or maybe you're on a rough ride or something, you really can't tell it. The only complaint about the GoPro is, as usual, they don't do the best in low light situations. So where I record my videos in my office, I don't have any LED lighting or anything like that, so the camera can kind of look a little bit rough. But of course, if you're outside, it looks just fine. Now the photos on here, of course, you can do things like burst mode, but the camera is a 12 megapixel camera, so it takes very decent photos, nothing to complain about there. One thing though you need to kind of note is the autofocus. Autofocus doesn't work because, well, it just doesn't. So if you get really close to something, you may notice that, well, it's not going to focus, and that's one other complaint that I don't really like about it. Now this camera has 3 microphones. So there's one on the top, one on the left, and then there's one on the right. Now, even though it has 3 microphones and pretty good audio quality, it still suffers from the horrible case noise. So every time I use this camera, I have to use an external microphone, because if I don't, you'll hear a constant kind of like humming or just a weird noise. It's just hard to explain. But it's really, really annoying. Hey, what's going on, guys? So today we're going to be taking a look at tvOS 14, and I'd like to apologize for the glare on the TV. I really can't do anything about it. Here that had the traditional keyboard, this is going to take some getting used to. But overall, the video, audio, and photos are still very on par for what most cameras are here in 2021. Another thing to consider about the GoPro here is the battery life. So this actually featured a bigger battery than the Hero 4, which was great because, well, you'd have more battery life, but that also means if you had a Hero 4, you can't use those batteries with it. Now the battery life on this camera, well, it's not the best. About an hour-ish, depending on what resolution you're recording in. I typically get about an hour when I'm doing 1080, 60 frames. But one of the most popular accessories, of course, is the little rechargeable battery pack that comes with an extra battery. So if you're going to be using a GoPro all day, whether you're out, doing whatever action you're going to be using it for, right? You definitely want to make sure you buy the extra batteries and keep them charged. So the final verdict, should you buy and use a GoPro Hero 5 in 2021? Well, I think it's definitely still a very usable camera today. Yes, technology advances so fast that 4 years ago may make something almost obsolete, but you still can record in 4K, you still can record in 1080-60. It's still an extremely rugged camera. It has USB-C, So overall, if you want to save a couple of $100 on a GoPro and you want to pick one of these up for cheap off of eBay, well, I think it'll still be a great option. And I've even seen some things on eBay, like I just saw a HERO5 with a whole bunch of accessories, like the handheld mount, the suction cup, the batteries, the casing, all sorts of stuff, and it was only 180 bucks, and you get all those accessories. So yeah, HERO5, still a great camera to use, and you can save a lot of money. And hey, I still use it today for pretty much all my videos. But yeah, guys, that's the HERO5 Black and what it's like to use here in 2021. Let me know what you think about it in the comments down below. Thank you all for watching as always, and I will catch you all in the next video.